Welcome to Remote First Innovators, the podcast for leaders who are scaling companies built for the modern world. We sit down with founders and experts in distributed work to explore how they've broken down barriers and solved the real-world challenges of growing and running remote teams. Each episode dives into practical strategies for onboarding, IT, security, compliance, and everything it takes to build a thriving distributed business. No fluff, no theory, just what works when your team is everywhere and operations never stop. Here are your hosts, Robert Phelps and Jake Gump.
Welcome to another episode of Remote First Innovators podcast. Today's guest is award-winning digital agency owner and award-winning filmmaker who's deep in the trenches of entrepreneurship. Building, breaking, rebuilding, learning, and all in real time. He leads a remote-first digital marketing agency with a blended team across the U.S. and overseas, and he's not afraid to talk about the parts of the business that most people gloss over. From firing clients, restructuring teams, to hard lessons around delegation systems and market research. This is a conversation about what entrepreneurship actually looks like, not the highlighted reel version. If you've ever questioned why anyone would want to be a business owner, or wondered why or whether you're building a job or building freedom, this is an episode that's going to hit home. And let's welcome to the show, Juming.
What's up, man? What's up, bro?
Man, I appreciate you spending time with me. And I honestly enjoyed our conversation we had, a few days ago. And man, you just kept it real. I will say that, it's nice to talk to somebody who's kind of, been in the trenches and that deals with the common entrepreneurial struggles, right?
Yeah. I mean, that was a hard intro. I appreciate the intros. That sounds good, man. You pretty much hit it all on the head because I think like that's just what I represent as a business owner. I don't even like calling myself a business owner. I'm trying to get out of the mind of that and just, as an entrepreneur, because there's a difference, you know what I mean? So I don't believe in like the whole business owner thing.
Yeah. I mean, the day that we talked, you were living it. I mean, you just went to bed at like 4 a.m.
Man, yeah. Bruh, like that's my day to day. That's my day to day. I wake up, bro. I go to bed at like 11-ish, something like that. Wake up by 4:30 in the morning. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, man, you just can't sleep. You just there's so much to be done. Um, and like when there's just so much to be done, it's like you just don't have the time in the day. It already feels like 24 hours ain't enough. If I had to be honest, like the only reason I sleep is because we gotta sleep. The only reason I eat is because we gotta eat. If I could take that away and just say, hey, let me just get this out the way, and like we didn't have to do that, I probably wouldn't sleep or eat. I'd probably just go straight in all the time. If we could survive and still do that, I would probably be that.
I think almost every entrepreneur I talk to has that mindset. It's like, I just eat and sleep because I have to, right?
Yeah. It's like a chore. That's just like a chore for us, man. Yeah.
What was keeping you up? I just, you had a problem that night. I'd like you just, if I, it's a few days later, so you may have it solved, but I think you were just being real with me. You're like, man, I had a problem that kept me up. I had to get it taken care of, and I was willing to do what it took to get it taken care of. And that to me is so real. It's like a lot of people are dealing with that right now. That's probably listening to that.
Yeah, 100. Man, let me tell you something, man. Like it's one of those situations where one, I had just lost 3 clients in the month of December, right? And we didn't lose them because, they was like our services were bad or they just didn't like our services. We fired 3 clients. It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we didn't lose just 3 clients. We fired 3. Even and it took a big financial, hit to our company. But the thing is, I never used their income. Their income was never our operating costs, our expenses. Their income was always bonus income. And it's because like for me, people, you could tell people, you know what I'm saying? You could tell by people's actions, the way they move, how they gonna move, whatever the case is. And so for me, when I got a client who made 16 late payments and they only been with us for like a year and a half, I don't know. It's just not, you know what I'm saying? That's just like that. And then you got a client who's telling us we might be overcharging her, like, things like that. It's like people like they already start showing you they don't value you, so it doesn't make sense to keep people like that on for me. And all the clients we have now, we love them, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Because like even my team, like we feel like the pressure was relieved off of us when we lost those clients, um, and it's just because like all money ain't good money. Now it was stressful because I'm like, okay, we still need to get more clients, get new clients. How we gonna do this? And then, when I couldn't sleep that night, it's oftentimes because I'm like, wait a minute, we worrying about the wrong thing, bro. What we need to be worrying about is our clients, because most of our clients come from referrals. All of our good clients we got come from clients within our organization. All the three people that we had, they were all outsourced, meaning they reached out to us. And then, looking for those red flags in clients as a business owners is important, because they're going to be the survival of your business. Now, if I was a dumb entrepreneur, I would have calculated their income into our operating expenses. But I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I ain't do that shit. I knew better. I was like, nah, like there's just too many. And one person, like I said, was with us for a year and a half, and we never included her income in our operating expense. Because when we lost her, we hired four people. When we lost three people, we hired four.
Wow.
I mean, you got to be a driving force. You know what I'm saying? You got to still be a driving force. Like when you lose, you got to be like, all right, bet we got to make our team stronger now. Most people, when they lost people, they'll be firing or laying off. Not us. We ain't that. We ain't there. We didn't have to do that.
Man, I love that. The fact that not everybody's going to be that smart where they, I know a lot of industries, they lose clients. They just start, hacking, right? And people are, hey, been a great employee. See ya.
Yeah, yeah.
So definitely know how that goes. How hard of a decision was that? I mean, obviously it's, after the fact, it's kind of like, okay, it's done. It's a relief. But going up to that point, it's just like, man, this is not working. And it's kind of like, at some point you realize that the negatives outweighing the positive, and it's draining myself, my team.
It is. It is doing just that. And so letting go, I think the scariest part is the conversation before, having the conversation before. And then the when the conversation is over, there is um some relief after they're gone. It's like a breakup, man. Like when you got a toxic person, that you like shit. God, thank you, Lord. It's like, God, no, never again, never. And what's crazy, bro, is two of them tried to come back. The beauty part about entrepreneurship, man, is like you pick and choose the people you want to work with. And we did not bring them back. And it wasn't because I'm like heartless or ruthless. It's just because I know that this is still going to be temporary income. And we don't need temporary income. We need people who for real about their business, who wants to go in and do what they got to do. And we had to support that. You know what I'm saying? Like we're in a day and age where people people don't play that shit no more because you pay the money. We gotta kiss your ass and all that. That's not how that work nowadays. People are like, I'll go somewhere else. There's way too many options for people. There's too many options. Most people want nice people who they can work with, who they can kick it with, who they can get the job done. Things like that. Nobody don't want demanding people no more. Like we don't. Times are just changing. There's too many ways to make money. Same thing even as an entrepreneur. When you treat your team members will leave if they don't like the way you're treating them. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. And I treat my team, like I love my team. Me and my team, like they don't call me boss. I'm not a boss. I'm not a boss. I am a leader. And to my team, like we all get in the mud and do the work. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind. I know how to do everybody's job. And sometimes I jump in there and do it when need be, especially if I see one of the team members drowning. It's just about how you treat people, man. It doesn't matter how much money you got. If you're paying, it don't matter. I read books all the time about people, losing clients, like losing some of their biggest clients. You know, some entrepreneurs are stupid. Why would you put all your eggs in one basket with one client? I would never do that. I would never. Like one guy was like, we lost our biggest client and that was 90% of our income. I'm like, what? our revenue. I was like, what? What? I would never. I would never. Like, I would never. I couldn't. I feel like that's not, as entrepreneurs, you always have to think strategically about how you invest. And always, always, always make sure you keep about 17 to 25% of your revenue.
I know even it works that way in IT where, you definitely don't want to lose a big client and then have to, hack some good technicians, right? You want to make sure you can always operate without if your biggest client decides to leave.
That's the biggest thing.
I'm just, I know a lot of people have been there. I know that if it's not a fit, it's not a fit, right? And I think that, the way I view money, maybe some people view this way, maybe some people don't, but there are certificates of appreciation of a job well done. That's really, I think, the foundation. I can't remember what book it was. I know I've read that in a book, but probably a long time ago. But that's paying someone on time and paying someone good money is your way of saying, "Hey, thank you, a job well done. I appreciate what you did for me." I know some people take it personal when payments are late and all that stuff, and I would too, because essentially that you're communicating to them at that point that I don't appreciate what you're doing, right? And I know stuff happens and business happens.
Not 16 times.
Yeah, but not 16 times, right?
Not 16 times, bro.
That's great.
Let me tell you how I view money. I view money exactly how it is. I view money as a promissory note. That's what it is. It is a coupon. I don't view it's not the money that I view. It's the person behind the money. Because the money is just a coupon. You know what I mean? And if you look at the top of a dollar, it clearly says promissory note. If you have like a dollar, it's what it is. Like people get trapped up in that, value is subjective and we all look at money as value. But look, for me, it's not even about the money, it's just about the character behind the money. Like if you're the type of person that, like, remember, like, you could put $1 million in front of a lion and it means, and you could put a piece, and you could put a human being right next to that $1 million. Where's the lion going? When he trying to eat, where he going? He going to that person. He ain't see that $1 million means nothing to him. All that paper sitting on his pile means nothing to him. He wants to eat, and if you're there to eat, he going for you. And you can say, okay, lion, wait, I will put 10 million, I will put $1 billion next to that. Lion will see all that money and still go to that one person to eat, because money is just as subjective as what we see as value, but more importantly is the person's character behind it. And when you're like a person that, you know acts a certain type of way when it's time to, pay your dues, because like that's what it is, you're paying your dues. Like, you're showing your character as a person. This has nothing to do with the value of this money. It's just who you are as an individual when you have it, or when and then how you treat people because you have money, or because because you're spent. Like, it's not the money, it's you as the person. And so I'm like, we would rather deal with a much more pleasant individual who don't have much money, and we rather work with them than the person who got bread and just an asshole. Because it's not about that. It's about we all trying to get to one common place. Money is nothing but a promissory note, and money is just used for freedom. We just use money for one reason: freedom. That's it. We just want to have nice shit and be free. But the money itself ain't really shit. You know what I'm saying? When you really think about it, it's really nothing, and it's not even like for me, that's what I look at. So when I'm saying late payment 16 times, what that tells me is it's not the dollar that's the problem. It's the person and the way they value us as a company is the problem. Like, we will be last on your radar to take care of, but you want us to treat you first on our radar for your services. It's just a crazy world, man.
It's not a good fit, that's for sure.
No.
At the end of the day, when it is a good fit, everybody wins because you're helping, they're scaling. I mean, it just, the money flows, and it's just a good marriage, and good things come up, and there's going to be hard times. There's going to be, the markets go up and down, especially in professional services, new things are coming. Businesses that were here, that are here now weren't here 10 years ago. So we know how that works, right? And we're all on this journey together. And I think that it's just crucial to state that, and just the fact that, hey, everybody wants to feel appreciated. Everybody wants to work with somebody cool.
And you have the right to, bruh. When you think about it, real talk. We are literally, the average person has only about 72 birthdays. Average. You know what I'm saying? Why would I waste that, you know what I'm saying, on somebody who's gonna stress me out? Because it ain't like we could take this money with us. And when I die, I want people to remember me for how I made them feel, not necessarily for what I had. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I'm like, it's not even about, it's how you make someone feel is the reason why somebody will stay with you or won't stay with you. You talked about marriage, right? You're with your wife because of how she makes you feel, and she's with you because of how you make her feel, you know? And oftentimes, you could have all the money in the world, but if you made her feel like shit, she ain't staying, bro. It doesn't matter. Like it's the and I it trips me up so much when and even as entrepreneurs, like our job is to be leaders, and I think that's what an entrepreneur is. It's just to be a leader. It's not to have a dollar and dangle it over your team members' face and say, if you don't do what I say, I'll cut this away from your pay and you won't have to feed your family. That's some fucked up shit. I mean, there's business owners who are genuinely like that. They just hide behind corporate America on their characteristic. But some people are really like that. And I'm like, bro, you ain't gotta be like that. Like this is money. Like at the end of the day, like we still people. We still human beings. We still have, moral values that we have to abide by. So when I think entrepreneurship, I think it's your job to create jobs. It's your job to create jobs to help families, not just yours, but other people's family. Oftentimes, people get into business ownership. That's what I call them, business owners, for themselves. They trying to make money for themselves, not realizing that entrepreneurship is about solving problems constantly for people. And when you're passionate about the problem that you're solving, money will come. But you're big, like Elon Musk is not tripping about the man's one richest motherfuckers on the planet. And he does not flaunt about his money. This man is about solving problems and understanding data. And those be the people who do the most, who does the best. You know what I mean?
Couldn't agree more. Let's dive into the, I like what you're talking about with the business owner versus entrepreneur, right? Talking about that last time we spoke, and hot take, right? Business versus entrepreneur, two different people. Just shoot me straight. Give me the clean definition in your words.
Man, listen, I think that a business owner is an individual who can go up to the whatever office in each state and sign a piece of paper and say, I'm an LLC. You are now a business owner. Um, I feel like a business owner is a boss. And I talked about this in a previous podcast. A boss is not somebody you want to work for. I feel like a business owner is a person who does not believe in building a team, but believe in building themselves, or they can do the job themselves. That's a business owner. Business owner mindset is, I could do this. I could like when you going into entrepreneurship, your primary goal is, okay, what's the problem that I'm solving? How do I build my team? That that's number one. Business owners are always about self. I could do this, my money, my so and so, I can make this. Name one billionaire who's made it without a team. Name one millionaire who's made it without a team. There's a cap. I mean, there's just like business owners. That's why the numbers for business ownership is so high. Like when they say the average business owner, the average business owner closes. I mean, if you have 100 businesses open in a year, 80 of them will close within that first year. And out of the remaining, 60% of them will close in 5 years. But see, that's how you separate business owners from entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs know coming in the bat, starting a business, that, okay, I'm solving a problem. I need to understand my marketplace and I need to develop a team. Because here's the first thing you got. Here's when you're really thinking about entrepreneurship, right? You say, all right, I'm starting this. I'm starting this business. All right. One, my first problem is I'm competing against other businesses that are similar to mine. They've already been here a lot longer than me. They have a team already. They've been established. They've already probably got some loyal people. What the hell do I think that I'm gonna come in here and do all this by myself and not be able to have nothing and compete with these guys? That's silly. Like it's just silly thinking. Like some stuff could just be common sense. And then the second thing is understanding that you're here to help somebody. How can you help people differently than your competitors? That like entrepreneurs are already thinking about ways of helping individuals, but at the same time, ways of still trying to catch up to competitors who's already been doing it a lot longer than them. Business owners are thinking about how can I me, my money. What's the cheapest way? Cheapest. It's just that's just not how. That's not an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs don't think like that, and that's why so many people fail in business ownership because it's all about them. It's all about how they can do it. And the way I look at this is, let's just say, for an example, I made. Let's just say I made $200,000 a year, whatever the case is. Like, let's just say the business makes $200,000 a year. I say 65% of that revenue has to go to people, right? 65% of that. The other 15% goes to like operations, running the business, subscriptions, all this other stuff. The other stuff goes back to the business, right? So you already know in your mind this is what's happening. And then more importantly, if you're starting a business, and I'll wrap with this, um, and you don't have like a grant or you don't have some sponsors or investors who invested into this business who gave you money to get the startup costs, your investors is a job you work for. So if you work a 9 to 5, that is your investor for your business. 100%, because at the end of the day, if you don't have an investor who's like, if you got a prototype or something and an investor's like, okay, we'll give you $3 million to get this business started, blah 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 blah, or a sponsor to give you money. If you don't have that, your job is that, because there's no way you're going to start off in your company without making money. You're just not going to start off making money off of it. You're going to need to have an investor. So your investor should be an investor that you find who's going to invest into the company that you have, or B, your company's your new investor. Congratulations. Now you started a business ownership. You know what I'm saying?
And thinking about business owner versus entrepreneur, I was reading something that was saying it was around 50% of businesses that start today are remote first businesses, no brick and mortar. And you've got that remote team as well, and it's got a freedom to it. It's got a you don't have as much startup costs, right? What's some other realities of remote first work that you feel like that has just been, man, remote's the way to go for me, and this is why I made the decision not to go get an office space?
So when we think about our team, people don't want to go into a building no more, man. People don't want to sit down into a building. I mean, I know people just sometimes mess around at home, whatever the case is. I'm like this with my team. With my team's very autonomous. We have tasks, we have deliverables, we have due dates. Get the tasks, deliverables done by the due dates. Keep me up to date on what's happening throughout that process. And you and I have no problems. I don't need a building to do that because all of our stuff is digital. Everything we're focused on the digital world. And we do have an office, we just don't use it. But we are gonna eventually get rid of it because it's just something that we don't use. And most of my team is from all over the country. So most of them are, and that's another thing. The benefit is you're not limiting yourself to local talent. I mean, there's talent out there that's better who will who'll be twice as fast, do the job twice as better, and probably cost a fraction of the price of what somebody locally is asking for. So it's like that's the benefit, more importantly. And most of you do not need to be in an office for what we do, like at all. Because most of our clients do their podcast from home or their home office and things like that. So it's not like a thing we need.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about you, Jimmy. Just be like, if someone doesn't know you, what do you do? Like, what problem are you trying to solve for your clients?
One, so you mean like for like a new client or something?
Yeah.
So oftentimes, most of the clients coming to us, they have their number one problem that they have, and sometimes they don't even realize it until they talk to us, is they just have an issue with their digital presence. Man, let me tell you something, man. Digital presence is key nowadays. It is it is just the new way of life. Like they are people, and the best way I could describe this is even like when you think about video games. The reason why like live games are so popular is because it's like you're not in the same room with somebody, you're just in the same digital space. Like this the generation we're coming into, like everything is about digital space, and where a lot of entrepreneurs are really fucking up. I don't know if I'm supposed to cuss on your stuff or not, but but where a lot of them are really fucking up is like they still live in like the times of like the 90s or the early 2000s, sometimes the 80s mess around. But I'm not understanding that digital presence now is just as valuable as anything else. You now you can put together in your living will and trust your digital assets. Most people don't know that. Like you could put your digital assets in your living wills and trusts now. And therefore that goes to show you the importance of digital presence. And the reason why I say that is because when we get a client, the first thing I do is I find out a few things. What is their digital presence looking like? That's like their social media and then their website, right? Why is this important? Because most people is what I call this the customer journey is going to go through what is called the customer journey for your brand, right? They're going to say, okay, I saw this person probably somewhere on social media, or they saw you, or they Googled you or something. If they don't know nothing about you, they'll Google you. So everything nowadays, 90% of things, searches start with digital presence, right? So they don't know anything about your business. So you talk to them and say, hey, go check out my business. First thing they're gonna do is Google you. They've already entered the digital presence world. They're gonna look you up and see how legitimate you are if you have a website. They're gonna look at your website. It has to be aesthetically appealing. It has to be something that's going to catch their attention first thing, et cetera, blah, those kind of things. Then they're going to look at like who you are on as a person. Your business shows us this, but social media shows us you as a person. So then they're going to look at you as a person because they're going to associate themselves with you and relatability. Like this is the quickest way that we could relate is digitally. You and I are talking digitally. We're not even in the same room having this conversation. We're having a digital presence. You are looking at a pixelated screen that looks like me, that's spitting out an image of me, but I am in Florida and you are somewhere on the other side of the country.
West Virginia,
Right. So at the end of the day, it's everything is about digital presence. And entrepreneurs have to get with that. So when I look at clients, I have to sometimes wire them to think you're in the digital era. We have to move like the digital.
love that. I mean, you're helping people connect with everybody, and I think one of the big things as far as client experience, people do their homework nowadays. They don't just open a phone book like like the old school used to do. I mean, you can go on a website and you can find out everything you need to know pretty quick, right?
Yes, you can.
Website that is telling everybody what they need to know and what problems you solve.
Yeah, people looking at reviews too.
Yeah. I mean, your Google business score, and everybody's got an opinion. That Google business score ain't where it needs to be. You're going to be struggling.
Yeah. And to be fair, and like even if it's a 5 star, some people still question that. Like to be a good business, you got to be around 4.7, 4.9. And then you know that there's like this, and I say that, and I have 5 stars, and I'm like, we just need a bad review real quick because we need to mix this up because it sounds like we telling everybody to write us a review, and it's not. That's not the case, but like it's just kind of like it helps kind of spice, it helps create some real experience here with the business. So there's not. So if you get a bad review, even as an entrepreneur, it's not a bad thing because nobody's perfect.
We had just recently I'll share one that we had. It was just a misunderstanding, and I had a client say, "Hey, what was it? You guys got a great score, but you just had a one that just happened last week." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, and I knew exactly what happened and told them what was happening, and we're getting it removed. But that they do see all of it, and they will mention it, right? So we're talking about, your business, and I would say, what do you think is probably the most, thing that people get when you talking to them as far as digital presence, that maybe they just don't get, maybe they don't understand that, no, this is a real deal. This is a priority. You have to have this. This is kind of like like if you aren't doing this, then you're behind.
Right. Okay. So the best way I could put this is like, when did the internet come out? 1990s, something like that. Early 90s, internet really like surfaced. There was a lot of businesses when they started hearing about it. I mean, a lot of businesses did things manually by paper, by file cabinets and things like that. They did everything manually. When the internet came out, smart businesses were like, okay, we could probably take advantage of this. And then there was other businesses who were like stuck in their own ways. Like, we don't need this shit. The way we've been doing it have been just fine. We don't need the internet. Those businesses got left behind, right? And then the new wave came in, social media. Social media started out as like this game and kids playing on it and shit like that. And then smart businesses was like, wait a minute, this is a marketing funnel here. This is where everybody's at. How do we blend our brand with social media to make it work? And then there was other businesses like, nah, man, we're good. The internet will do us just fine. The website's been working for us just fine. Those businesses got left behind. Now everybody want to be on social media. And that's not that's not the wave anymore either. The new wave is podcasts, right? So it's the same exact like, businesses always get left behind when they don't keep up with the times. Like that rhyme. So businesses get left behind when they don't keep up with the time. And so therefore, digital presence, I mean, we're talking, if I have to sell you on digital presence, you are already far behind, because digital presence was important way back in the 90s. Right now, when we talk digital presence, we talk podcasts and marketing and social media. We're talking AI. We're talking about being present. Because here's the deal. And I say this every podcast. I'm going to say this in yours. We know that the average business, even 5 years, 10 years ago, would close down. 90% of them would close down in their first year, right? And we know that with the remainder, about 60% of them will close down within the first 5 years. Those businesses will close down quickly. Now you have AI. Now imagine those numbers. Businesses who can't keep up with AI, that's going to be a problem, because businesses were already closing fast prior to AI. Now that AI is here, you're really going to have a problem, because now you're not competing against just your marketplace, but now you're competing against AI. And in entrepreneurship, you are constantly competing against your competitors, because your competitors are trying to take you out of business. Now AI is trying to take you both out of business, because it can do it twice as fast and be twice as accurate. So it's like, okay, so if that's the case, if we know as entrepreneurs that AI is taking us out of business, what can we do to offset AI? Podcasts. That's why so many businesses are jumping into it now, because the one thing AI cannot do is be authentic. It cannot have these kind of raw, realistic, authentic conversations like you and I are having. AI cannot do that. And that's what people are like resonating with. That's your new marketing funnel. That's your new marketing tool. Because at the end of the day, AI is artificial. Podcast is authentic. And that's why smart businesses are now incorporating podcasting into their businesses. And then other businesses are like, well, we don't need that right now. And that's fine, because those other businesses who say that will be just like the same businesses who said that about the internet and who said that about social media. Because, and then they're going to try to jump into podcast, and it's already getting saturated. It's already getting saturated. So that's just now there's going to be a new wave of things, and you have to be prepared for that, because podcasting isn't going to be it anymore at some point. That's why you have to get ahead of the times, and understand what's happening now. Digital presence has been here since the 90s. It's just now evolving, and it is not going anywhere. Even now, when you think about when people are like, AI is going to take over a lot of people's job. Elon Musk is already talking about, universal income. Universal income, because people's jobs are going to be taken. Universal income, right? That's basically the government just paying people because people ain't gonna be working because AI is gonna take everybody's job, right? And most businesses are gonna close down. Universal income. So yeah, they're projecting this within the next 10 to 15 years, right? Quick, remember, ChatGPT is only like 3 years old, and it's already like Google, So it's like getting with the times, getting with the digital times is important for entrepreneurs. Understanding that this is just the basics. In order to really get into this thing the way you need to get into this thing, you need to understand that you need a team, you need to understand your marketplace, and you need to move fast because there's nothing here waiting on you. Nothing. Everything in entrepreneurship moves fast. And if you move slow, you will fail. You will fail. If you drag your feet, you will fail. You always, you don't have to be the smartest, you don't have to be the most talented. But if you are the quickest, you will be the one to move. Learn from your mistakes as you move, but keep moving fast.
Man, I love that. That's a gold right there. I know a lot of people that pivot. Sometimes they pivot right on time. Sometimes they pivot too late, right? And then so you got to stay up with the times. And I see AI as a tool to enhance everything that people are doing, right? In my opinion, AI is only good as the prompt you put in. Maybe at some point it will, like Elon says, 5 years, it'll be smarter than the smartest human. Who knows? Obviously, you can generate and
I think it
analyze.
already is.
Yeah, I mean, it can analyze data very, very quickly, faster than a human, obviously. But
Yeah, it's already there.
it's enhancing, and even in IT, we see it as an enhancement. People are still going to crave that human interaction, right? So if you're in that in the business of human interaction, you need to keep that. You need to keep it authentic. You need to keep it genuine. And so definitely resonate with that, because there's even in IT, they're trying to replace tier 1, tier 2 help desk with bots, and it's just have you ever called an IT line and had
And
somebody
that
answer?
shit sound real. They sound real. But we know it's not real.
Right. And then it's frustrating if they don't exactly understand what you're asking and what context you're asking, the reasoning, right? I mean, it's going to have, hey, I need my password reset. Okay, I understand that, right? But there's going to be other complex things that it's not going to be able to, well, okay, I don't know what to do here, right? Maybe at some point it will, but
People want to feel. People want to feel. They want to feel. And if they're upset about something, they want to feel sympathetic. They want to feel something from someone else that will reassure them that they're not tripping, that they ain't crazy. And a robot just ain't gonna do that. AI just, I mean, it's just not gonna do that, right? But it will. It can do a lot of the. But at the end of the day, like you got to remember, like while this sounds crazy to us, but this might not sound crazy to the generations behind us. And I'm for AI. I love AI. Like I put it on my podcast. I'm like, bring it on, because sometimes I can't stand people. They're the rudest motherfuckers on the planet. Like sometimes I'm like, I just need somebody to be polite to me. Sometimes there's got to be like a balance of both. You need some authenticity, and that's why podcast is taking off so hard, is because that authenticity. People are craving that authenticity. Um, Conversation, that authentic conversation, something that's not scripted, something that's not um, set, or whatever the case is. I think that AI will never be that, no matter how good it becomes. An individual will always have in the back of their mind, this is not real. Even if they want it to be real, it would always be known that this is not real and there's nothing you can do about it.
right. What's the what do you think is the in marketing? And I don't want to spill all your marketing edge, but
I don't care. I don't bookkeep. I don't, what do you call it? Gatekeep. I'll share whatever people want to know. Yeah.
I think it's kind of like I had a designer on from Tristan Van Aken, and he was talking about how hey, it can do maybe some logos here, but it's still not going to replace the creativeness of those designers, right? I mean, and you can even put in a prompt, but there's some things it's just not going to replace. But is there something that you found the AI for you in marketing and for then helping your clients? It was just like, man, this is just a game changer for me.
Yeah, I think that for us, it's like Opus Clip. That's a game changer for like our editors. You take your video clips, your podcast, chop it up, It does it in seconds. Like, I think things like that is beneficial. One, I still have an editor who comes in and edits, but I don't want my editor to feel like AI is going to take his job. So we go in, we say, hey, get this edited, throw it in Opus Clip. Opus Clip can turn these into short clips. You still take this, look at them, review them, because AI is not going to get it all right. So find the ones that gives you the most connection, because you still need that human interaction. Right now, I've just hired a automations coordinator to our team. And basically, he's going to be working on creating basically automation systems for us using a platform called N8N. And I'm not sure if you're in technology, but N8N is a way to create your ways of it's a communication systems between platforms. And the purpose of this will be and we're doing this for our clients. We want to add this to a service to them, is to be able to create a AI chatbot that reaches out to potential sponsors for our podcast clients. So this way our clients don't have to reach out. Now, our objective is to, one thing we know about sponsors, because in podcasts, most people don't even know how to make money in podcasts. And that's the first problem. They come in and don't even know how to make money. And the way to make money is through sponsors. It's not going to be through these YouTubes and Instagram. Like, you want to make your money through sponsors. And one thing that sponsors look for is authenticity. They look for consistency in your content. They look for making sure your quality of video and audio is there. They want to make sure people are engaging in your content, and they also want to know the skin in the game, how much money you put into your business annually. These are the things that sponsors are looking for podcasters. Podcasters are looking for give me, hand me out. Sponsors aren't looking for that. Sponsors are looking for individuals who are out here doing something for people. Because most people think, well, I got to get 1,000,000,000 views for a sponsor to look at me. Here's the deal: a sponsor can give you $30,000 to put toward digital ads. You'll get the million views, but if you give you $30,000, that's not what they're looking for. What a sponsor's looking for is a podcast that has meaning behind it, a podcast that's doing something for the community that lines up with that business's goals and objectives. And if you don't have that, it doesn't matter what your views are. If you don't have skin in the game, it don't matter. Because think of it like this from a sponsor's point of view. If I'm going to sponsor your podcast, I need to make sure this is the right business move. One, your podcast have to line up with my brand. That's the first thing. Two, you have to be passionate about what you're doing. That's another thing. Three, you have to have a team. Why you have to have a team? Because for me, the way this looks for me as a sponsor, if I decide to just hire my own podcast team, it's going to cost me twice as much money, because I got to now buy all the equipment. I got to build the studio. I now have to hire a host. I now have to hire guests and a co-host and equip. So all these things, it's going to cost me upwards of $250,000 a year or more to run this podcast production company. Or I can sponsor a podcast that already has all of these things that I don't have to do, and I can probably give them $50,000 a year and still get the same exact results.
Wow. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that had no clue even how that works.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's because they go in it don't understanding the nature of podcasting. They have to understand the nature of podcasting. And people who are coming into podcasting and don't understand the business, that's a problem.
By the way, this episode is brought to you by Creative IT. No, I'm kidding.
Oh shit. And that's why you see that on podcasts. They'll do that because they're being sponsored, man. And it's real. And like for me, when I started my podcast, I have over almost 70,000 subscribers. When I started my podcast, we were filmmakers first. I didn't know most people start a podcast and say how to run a successful podcast. Not me. I learned from others' mistakes. I said, why do podcasts fail? Gave me 3 top reasons why podcasts fail. Lack of organization. People just go on a podcast and just wing that shit. They don't have show notes. They don't have anything. They just wing it. Number 2, lack of production. People coming in the podcast now have to learn how to be engineers, video editors, graphic designers, marketing, blah, 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 blah. They have to do all that. That's the number 2. Number 3, lack of marketing. So they do not know how to distribute their content. They do not understand. And the reason they don't know how to distribute their content is because they do not understand the people they are talking to. And that's the first. So these are the top three reasons why podcasts fail. And if you look at the statistics on podcasts that fell within the first year, they are just as high as business ownerships that fell in the first year. They're just as high because individuals come in and then what happens is they're like, okay, I'll edit that later. I'll get to this later because they got their other lives that they have to get to. Not understanding that when you watch the most successful podcasting team, they have a financial person on their team, they have a manager, they have a video editor, they have producers, they have marketing team. Like they have a team behind them. You think that they just come in and hit record and it just look like they doing this shit on their own. Well, it's not. It's not. The most successful podcast started out with a team. um, a lot of named podcasters, Joe Budden being one, started out. That's why he's now got to deal with Netflix. He started out before he opened his podcast. This is what it's going to cost me to run a team. I need to figure out how I'm going to do this because your job as a podcaster is to change lives and help people. If you're worrying about all the other shit in the background, it is what it is. And so AI comes in and hand with us with allowing us to say, hey, our clients don't need to understand AI because they already got shit going on. Our job is to understand this and be that bridge for them and teach them along the way.
Love that. I would be remiss if I didn't say that I'm learning some stuff in this podcast myself about podcasting, right? Just starting in September of 2025. And I've enjoyed the journey so far. Hopefully we can continuing that journey. And
we will continue the journey.
Yeah. And I tell you, it's meeting business owners like yourself, or entrepreneurs, I should say.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's a breath of fresh air because we all go through similar battles, right? And it doesn't really, sometimes it doesn't even matter the industry. It's good clients and bad clients, and hiring and firing, and all of these items are universal. So let's focus back in a little bit. I wanted to kind of concentrate on your team a little bit because you said you had a distributed team, and I know there's some people listening in this podcast that have remote teams, and we've had people on this podcast that have focused in different areas of the globe, right? And we had one that focused on South Africa. We had some in LATAM, and some in Philippines, some in East Asia, West Asia, right? So I think you have different sections of the globe with different talent sets. And just kind of walk me through, your journey was starting. Let's talk about the first hire. Go back to when you first started your company, getting that first hire in, and then kind of why you made the decision to go with certain hires and where and why.
Okay, so when it comes to like the first hire, I'm not gonna lie. We have people working for us for free. We hire interns. We didn't know what to do. Like, coming in my business, we just hire interns. But then I realized, okay, we might need some people who are a little bit skilled. Then we hire VAs. I was like, okay, there's a culture issue here. And then, so what I learned very quickly in entrepreneurship was, you cannot scale a business with interns and VAs. Mic drop. I learned that very quickly because it's good to have them as helpmates, but you need people who understand your culture as well. And VAs are here to learn, not to run your business and organize. VAs are here to do what you tell them to do, meaning they are not strategists. They're not going to strategize on ways of going to business. They're just going to do what you ask them to do. And that's just what it is. And that's where most people get it messed up. I have a mixture of both. I have individuals here in the state. I have 4 individuals here within the United States. I have 3 VAs, and I have 2 interns. So I have the best of all worlds because you need them all. The VAs are the people that we just kind of do all who we know we just need to, like, they're more of assistants to us. They assist our team because that's what they're supposed to do. And while our strategy teams come up with a strategy, they offset all the heavy loads, things like that. Individuals that try to grow a business with VAs and interns they'll never grow. I mean, they might say they might think that they will never grow. It will never happen because even if these methodologies work, then why aren't these multi-billionaires doing the same thing? Why don't they just fire all of their developers, all of their IT guys? Why don't they just fire all those people and just bring on VAs because they're cheaper? There's a reason why. Because strategically, that will be the dumbest shit they can do. The dumbest. Because you still need culture to drive a business. Culture is what drives business. It's the culture of the company. And you need individuals who understand the culture of that company. When you think about Apple and Android, people buy these phones based off of the culture of the company, not necessarily because one's better than the other. It's how that brand makes them feel culturally. So anyone who says, I'll just do VAs, they're silly. They're bullshitters. And what it is, they're really just cheap. They're not gonna be in business more than 5 years. They're just not. Because that's not how entrepreneurship works. Entrepreneurship is about, again, that's a business owner, a person who hires VAs, and I was that, and I had to understand. I want to be an entrepreneur. I learned very quickly. I want to be an entrepreneur. Business owners hire VAs because they say this is the cheapest route. Entrepreneurs hire all of the above because they say, listen, we're still here to feed families and help people. Our job is to do just that, solve problems, while at the same time feed our family.
Right. And you got the VAs that kind of, you got a lot of busy work that needs to be done that you just can't get to, that you need to have the time for the strategy. You need the time for the plans that no one else can get to. And there's busy work. Right. And I really feel like VAs can just come in and take a burden off. And then, I feel like for the specialist positions, I always go back and talk about this. Steve Jobs was a big inspiration to me. And I think it's awesome where he said that, he's going to hire people smarter than him, so tell him what to do. Right. And did you ever have a moment that you felt like that, where you're just like, man, I need to bring in someone who can,
All the time, all the time. That's all I think about. I tell my team all the time, if I have to tell you what to do, you probably won't be here long. You should be telling me, hey, maybe we should try to. I love team members who give suggestions. Oh my Lord, true entrepreneurs, the reason why we spend money on a team is because for us, what happens is we're saving time. Time is so much more valuable to me than anything in the planet. If I can walk away from something and know that this team's got it, I am so happy. I feel so relieved. I can sleep better at night because I know that I can go on vacation or I can go to a conference knowing that I got a team of individuals who's not going to be calling me every waking moment saying, "Hey, how do you want me to do this? How do you want me? How do I?" Like, no, 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 no. And my biggest pet peeve is when somebody brings a problem. Great, you got a problem. I'm aware that we have a problem here, but do you at least have any kind of solutions or ideas on what the hell we need to do? Because what am I hiring you for? If Listen to me, if I have a web developer on my team, I'm like, all right, bet because we do websites, right? I don't know shit about websites, man. Like that's not what I do. My job is to hire the people who knows how to do it. So if he's coming to me talking code and shit like that, I'm like, bro, I don't understand this code, bro. If you're talking to me about that, like we have a problem. You should probably tell me, say, hey, there was issue going on with the website, but we have a couple of recommendations. Here's what we're thinking, but we're not sure how you want us to move because these are the things that could happen if we do it this way. But we do have recommendations. Great versus, hey, I have a problem and I don't know how to fix it. Can you help me? No, I cannot. I hired you to help me. Like, that's what you're here for. So for me, it's like, I have to have people smarter than me because, like, I'm a strategist by my nature. I can tell you how to run this business and how to be successful in this business. But the intricacies within the business, you're hiring the right people. Everybody think Elon Musk is like the Tesla guy. No, he hired the right people. Elon Musk don't know shit about them Teslas. And to be fair, he don't care about them damn cars. He said it himself, he don't care about the cars. The only thing he cares about is the data. The data. And the data is how often does a person leave their car sitting before they get in it? How often do they drive it? How often do they go out of town? He cares about the data. And as entrepreneurs, we don't really care about the build of it. We want it to work, but more importantly, we want the data. For me, where I live at is analytics. I live in the data of my company, where even with the funds, where we at, how we looking, numbers, how's our clients growing, what are these numbers looking like, how is this? We're all about data because data tells us the story of how the business is doing.
Love that. Now, you were talking last time that we had spoke about you had a notebook that you kept by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about that. I mean, we're talking about all this AI.
And first of all, don't insult my portfolio. I don't call it a notebook. It's different. I don't carry no notebooks, but I carry portfolios, and and my portfolio is all leather. It's in the living room on my computer by my laptop. I had jumped into this podcast in my office, but yeah, I keep two portfolios. There's no way, and that's another reason why I could tell a true entrepreneur. If somebody tells me they run a business and I don't see like a notepad or something in their hand, you know what I'm saying, that shows me, I don't believe shit they say. I don't believe it. Because there's no way I can walk out the crib without my portfolio. Like because like as an entrepreneur, we're always thinking. We're natural problem solvers. Natural. So our job is to always solve problems. So oftentimes you'll be just driving, and I'll be driving in my truck, riding out, whatever, be at a red light, be like, oh shit, thought of something that came to mind from either a team member or an idea that I'm like, okay, we are struggling with an idea we can't get out, and then boom, I come up with something. If I don't write it down, I'm gonna forget. Why am I gonna forget? Because I have a team full of people who's got questions and we've got other things to bring up. I need to make sure that when we have these meetings, I need to go over this in a meeting so that we're all clear. Right now, like you told me about all these entrepreneurs. I don't know their little game, how they do things, but I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The key, there's only really one true key to success for entrepreneurship. Just one. If you had to take a guess, what would you say that one thing would be?
Just one.
One thing. There's one key to success in entrepreneurship. There's really just one. Okay, well, no one says.
Well, I mean, if I had to answer it right now, I'd say a portfolio, but
Close enough, man. nah, let me tell you, man. It's communication.
yes.
I mean, listen, everything else don't matter. If you don't have a company that knows how to communicate, it does not matter what happens. Take away everybody's mouth and most businesses fail right now. Think about we are Homo sapiens, and think about the Neanderthals. The only reason we beat the Neanderthals in war was because we had the power of communication. Our communication game was much powerful than the Neanderthals, and that's why we overcame them. And it's like, so same thing in entrepreneurship. If you don't have a clear communication within your organization, the business will crumble. If you guys do not know how to communicate, rather apps, rather whatever, emails, whatever, there has to be even when people talk about you need a system is communication. It still boils back down to communications. Everything will still boil back down to effective communication. Systems, finance, marketing. How do we communicate to our target audience our message so that they can come to us? Marketing, finance. How do we communicate this data to people who don't understand how to read spreadsheets, P&L statements? You know what I'm saying? Tech. How do we communicate the specs of this thing to individuals who don't know what it is, how it works, or what it's about? Everything still comes down to communication. And if you don't have it, you don't have a business.
Man, love that. And I would say that message resonates from just about every successful entrepreneur I've spoken with so far. You hear these commonalities between communication, and the true hard knocks of entrepreneurship. And I will say, I thought you had an interesting story about how you just came to your business, and the grit and just the, I mean, would you call it intangibles of an entrepreneur, right? You shared with me you left home at 14, uh, and you had to learn early to problem solve, and you know just explain to us how much of your leadership today comes from that season of life.
Yeah, I think, and I'm gonna be honest. I had a debate with a guy on a podcast earlier. He said, entrepreneurship is for everybody. I will still sit here and tell him in any podcast, no, it's not. Like, it's really not. If it was for everybody, these statistics wouldn't be as high as they are. And like, and here's the thing I should have said on that podcast as well, because he said it is for everybody. I said no, it's not. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. That is completely okay. And it's okay. It's okay that football is not for you. It's okay that basketball wasn't for you. It's okay. It is okay. But maybe you want to be in the world of entrepreneurs. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur. And I say that to say because entrepreneurs, it is something that is ingrained in you from the beginning. It is not something that typically just come, like, it's something that's already there. You're just tapping into it. So even as a kid, I knew naturally I was a problem solver. I knew when I left, I'm like, I can figure it out because naturally I'm a problem solver. And to this day, my parents tell me to this day, we did not think you were going to come, but we thought you was going to be home in a week. I left at 14, I'm 37, and I have not been back home since then. And I guess at this point, definitely not coming. But whenever you talk about it, they say, we thought you'd be home in a week. We thought you'd be home in a few days. But I knew then going out there, naturally, I was a natural problem solver. And so going out there early on at 14 years old, figuring out the world, can't do that shit now, but figuring out the world, um, trying to navigate to see what's out there. How am I going to eat? How am I going to survive? Like, naturally. And I had choices to make. I said, listen, I got to get a job. I said, and I gotta live somewhere. I gotta eat. I gotta live. I was like, school's not important right now. While this shit sounds good for me right now, it's not it. So I dropped out, right? And I thought to myself, I can always go back to school. I need to eat right now. I need to get myself together right now. That's what I did. And so, and here I am years later with a whole master's degree. Like I said, go back later. You can go back and do that shit later. It's always about priorities. For individuals who are strategists, it's like, okay, what is the natural problem solver thinks like this? What is top priority right now? What is top priority? And I've been thinking like that since I was a kid. And so therefore, I take that with me. And so when you really think about it, the average brain frontal lobe part is in around 24, 25 years old, right? So when you're 14 years old and you're already coming into a world of problem solving and figuring things out and trying to figure out you're going to get through the world, navigate through life at 14, and then you've been doing it for the last 9 or 10 years, man, dude, your frontal lobe I mean, I was sleeping at train stations, buses. I was homeless. Like, I've been through it, right? So now here we are. I will never go homeless again. I think that if I tried to go homeless, it would be difficult because it's hardwired in my brain to know what to do. If I did, and I couldn't help but just say, I know how to get out of this. I know how to get out of this. I know what I got to do. I know what I got to do, bro. I've set myself up so well. You see this house I'm living in right now? It's my crib, right? I pay $386 a month in my mortgage. That's it. My light bills, probably like 113. Overall, my total expenses on my day-to-day life is probably under $1,500. Truck is paid for. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I understand life. What is the next difficult thing to do? You know what that was? Entrepreneurship. Now that is a challenge because that is constant thinking, constant figuring out, constant. And so I think that's why when I think about entrepreneur, here I am muscling that game. We done been in business 4 years. We've already got over 15 film awards. We've already got over four um, awards just with our agency. We've only been in business a few years. We haven't even made the 5 year mark. It's because when I touch things, it becomes golden because I've already started at a young age. So I'm figuring out life. I don't know everything. I'll say that. I do not know everything. But I'll say this here. I know enough. I know enough.
Yeah, man. Along the way, was there anybody that, obviously, you're going through some hardships. You're literally going out. You're killing it. You're dragging it back to the cave. Was on in your corner that helped you out in some rough times, and has just been an inspiration to you, and maybe a mentor, maybe maybe it was a colleague or a coach, or somebody that has just been inspirational and inspiring and helpful in your journey.
No, not starting out. for for about um, from when I was about 14 till I was about 21, it's been by myself. From I had nobody. No one was helping. I didn't get a dollar from nobody. I didn't get anything. I figured everything out on my own. When I turned 21, I found a mentor. I found somebody who I consider family. He's now considered my white dad. His name is Donald Fournier. Shout outs to my white father, Donald Fournier, who when I came in New York, I came into Connecticut. I came into New York City to come become an actor, and that was a very brutal time as well. But I was like, I want to be an actor, and I met him through a friend of mine, and he took me in. He had this big loft apartment, and he goes, if you want to live here, you got to pay rent here, and you got to build your own room. I said, I got to do what? You said what? You said I do what is it? Build your own. I said, what do you mean build my own room? So I'll give you all the tools, but you got to build your own room if you want to live here. I think, all right. And that's what I did. I built this really nice. He helped me along the way, but like I was in there working that room, figuring it out. Um, but he would like the remainder of my adulthood life, he's been like the person that I look up to. He's the person that really helped me out. That call him my white dad to this day. I talk to him all the time. And we've known each other. I was 21, so now I'm 37. So you do the math on that. We're almost coming on 20 years in a few years, and that's more. That's most of my life. And big inspiration. And here's the reason. Here's the reason why he was such a big inspiration. I'm not gonna lie. I had a very rough upbringing. Like my family. I just didn't get along with. 'Em. I felt like there was a lot of envious. There's still a lot of envious in my family. There's a lot of envious shit in just the black community. I'm gonna be honest. Like oftentimes in the black community, black people don't want to see other black people doing good. It's always like they don't want to see that shit. It's like boasting. It's like nobody want to see that shit. So you go to a white man who'll come and help you out. And all I needed was for somebody to say, I believe in you. And that was Donnie. Donnie said, I believe in you. And that took me to a whole nother. If I had that from a kid, I don't know if I would be where I'm at because maybe I would feel entitled or whatever. But because I never had it coming up, and the moment I just had that, I believe in you. I think you can do it. The moment that happened, my entire life changed. Because now I had one person believe in me, right? And when I talk to my clients, I say, listen, I don't care about what people got going on. If you feel like your social media isn't growing fast enough, that's fine. Let me ask you something. Did you get one follower this month? Yeah. That's the step right there. All it takes is that one person. Then that one person will become a two. It become three. Now I got almost 70,000 people on my YouTube, right? Because I don't care about the numbers. I care about how I make people feel because that's how he made me feel.
Man, kudos to Donnie. Believe in spreading the love. Man, love that. I pulls on the heartstrings there, man.
Yeah.
Love to hear that. I tell you, I've just enjoyed having you I feel like you're just one of those people we could just talk for hours on business and life and just everything. I want to have you back on and we'll kind of do maybe a year from now, we'll do a follow up and get you back on and talk about, where you're at now. And I got a feeling that your business is going to be a whole new level. Just talking to you. You ain't going to stay still. That's for sure.
We is not in the same place we were in last year.
Yeah. So, growing just, how rapidly you are in such a short amount of time. I want everybody just to, know how they can get a hold of you. If they, how they find your company, how they check out your podcast that you have, and where should people follow you?
Yeah, for sure. I'm Juming Delmas. My company name is Juming Delmas Studios. So fairly simple. You can Google me. You can Google my name. I'm Googleable. So you just pull up my name. You'll find everything about me. My podcast is called The Untraditional Entrepreneur. The Untraditional Entrepreneur Podcast. Google it. You'll find us. You'll find us on Google. We're on all major streaming platforms. So yeah, that's where you find me at.
Love that. And if somebody that wants to just get a view into entrepreneurship, what the difference is between starting a business, entrepreneur, you think like this, any of this resonated with them, share it with somebody. And so they can get inspired, and know what's real and some we talked about today. And for anybody looking for IT help, you want help with remote systems, you want help with, feeling secure in your business, helping onboard those remote staff, offboard them, making sure you don't have, someone still having access to your stuff after they leave. We're here at Creative IT to help with that as well. And that's it for us today. And we'll see you in the next one.
See you guys.
Remote First Innovators Podcast requires more than a conversation. It takes action, research, and collective wisdom. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your insights. Join the conversation and help us shape the future together. We'll be back with more stories, strategies, and real-world solutions that are making a difference for everyone. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, rate, write a review, and share it with someone you think would benefit from it too. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.